Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Simi Williams, and once again I have Adebimpe on the show with me. How are you, Adebimpe?
I'm doing well. Hello everyone, I'm Adebaju Adebimpe. You can just call me Bimpe for short.
But today we are going to be talking about something that really has been happening for such a long time, and that is situationships, right? If you belong to the Gen Z, or you were born in the 90s downwards, you definitely are familiar with this term or this slang or whatever. Now, a situationship is between a relationship and a fling. It's just something in between. You all are not committed to each other. You all are just winging it. You're hanging out. You are enjoying all the perks and benefits of a relationship without really committing to each other. So it's more like an open relationship where you all get to do whatever it is you all want without being committed to the other person. But we realized that it never ends well, especially for the females, because you all end up falling in love, and it's premium tears afterwards. But we realize that people are settling for situationship because it is safer. You don't need to commit to anybody, yet you get to enjoy the perks of a relationship. So the question is, why are people afraid of commitment and ultimately marriage? Because you only settle for a situationship when you really are afraid of commitment. Commitment phobia is a major reason why people would much rather go for a situationship, because it's convenient. You don't have to be faithful to one person or loyal. You can have multiple girlfriends or boyfriends and all of that. So I'm going to ask you, have you ever found yourself in a situationship before, and how did you handle it?
Yeah, I have. I found myself in a situationship before, and that's coming from the pressure of you wanting to have someone, or you just want people to know that you have someone in your corner, like you are dating. So you already knew. I knew that the relationship is not going anywhere. You understand? In fact, at some point, I felt I was the only one in the relationship. But I knew already that it wasn't going, anywhere. But just because I want people to see that I'm in a relationship,
so you have someone.
Yes, you understand. So I just have to
But did he ask you out? Did he say like, okay, I like you, I want you to be my girlfriend, or you guys just started talking and from there, just started going with the flow?
He actually asked me out.
Okay.
You understand? He asked me out, but getting, at some point, when you get to talk, about things and all that, you knew that it was just, asking you out is just for fun.
Okay.
Do you understand? So you just assume, okay, fine. Okay, let's just go into it. It's for fun. Let's just go into it, and that's how the whole thing started. But at some point, I knew I was the only one in the relationship. So we are not two.
Okay, but from the get-go, you knew that this person wasn't exactly your spec. It wasn't someone you want to. You didn't see a future with him from the get-go.
From the beginning, I didn't see anything. But because I just want to deal with that pressure that I have someone, so I have to go into it.
Just to fill that space, like while you are waiting for the real one, let's just wing it with this one. Oh, I get that makes sense. So you said you guys were not really like into an official relationship, but it seems like you were, because you were doing things that people in a relationship would do.
Yes.
So if you can walk us through that, what did that look like? What were the things that you guys were doing?
We're hanging out, we're talking, daily. I was buying recharge cards, something that I could have just used for other things. You understand?
For him.
Yes. I was sometimes you just say, fine, I need some certain amount for some things, and at that time the guy was not really working. You understand? So I was working at the time, so he was not working. So I cooked for him. Then we do a lot of stuff, together.
You did stuff.
Yes, I knew that it was just wasting of time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so I totally vibe with what you're saying, and unfortunately that is the situation of things with a lot of young people these days. 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, just catching cruise, just vibes and all that, and having sex indiscriminately and all that without necessarily committing to each other. That is the dating scene. It's getting worse and worse. It is real terrible out there.
Friends with benefits.
Yeah, that's what's happening out there. And I realized that far more than the enjoyment people get from situationships is the fear of marriage, which is actually gamophobia, right? In fact, it's okay. It's not justifiable, but it's understandable when people in their teens, like 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, like 21, 22-year-olds, are involved in something like this. Like, fine, y'all are not ready for marriage anytime soon, but you just want to have the sense of being connected to someone.
Yeah.
But when the people in question are 28-year-olds, for example, 32-year-olds, people who should be looking for a life partner to settle down with, but you realize that they are still the ones who are perfectly fine with just being with a girl without committing to her, and vice versa. You begin to realize that there's something more to this that meets the eye. And I realized that for a lot of young ladies, it is the fear of marriage. Marriage is getting a really bad PR. With ladies dying as a result of domestic abuse, Oshinachi's death, right, in the early months of this year, IVD's wife's death just recently, and when you come online, you see bad news about marriages, and it's looking as if marriage is really terrible hellfire that's going to rob you of your identity and your peace. And whether we like it or not, these images and news are really altering our mindsets and causing us to think about marriage as a nightmare other than the beautiful institution that God has made it to be. So this is, on this channel, we keep it real. We keep it real, right? And we are honest, and we are vulnerable and transparent. So I, to an extent, I would say I am afraid of marriage. And are you afraid of marriage?
Yeah, I am. I am. In fact, I am afraid of commitment.
Commitment?
Yes, because you only know who you are, not the other person. For them to get your attention, they tend to tell you what you really want to hear. You understand? I've been in situationships a lot, before. So me now committing, seeing someone that wants to be committed, and me now committing to the other person, there's always a fear that how will I feel? What will I do to make sure that or am I really? Do I really want to be in this thing? Do I really want to get married? Do I even have the emotional capability? Everything that has to come with it, with parenting and all those things like that. If eventually you get married and all that, and these are things that people are going through on a daily basis. That's why you see people are afraid to get married, but they eventually get married and they will not spend up to like 6 months before they get out, because they are afraid of what will come, with those things. So I am afraid. I'm afraid of committing. I'm afraid of marriage. I'm afraid of a lot of things. But I'm working on it anyways.
Now, what do you think is responsible for your fears? What are your fears around commitment? What do you think commitment will take away from you in the event that you commit?
I think what is making me more afraid is majorly people have committed to in the past, past, baggages now, that one is there. Then, seeing a lot of marriages. Yes, I'm not supposed to, but the thing is, these things tend to have, a lasting effect on us. You understand? Seeing people around, seeing some people you love, that you feel that, okay, fine, their marriage will have worked, and you couldn't, and you're like, okay, what if
this happens
to me too? So a lot of things like that, and you see people that you feel they should have done better, in terms of that they should have been role models to you, and their own is even worse, and you're like, hey, and of course, considering the fact that the men that we raise these days are not they are not raised for this.
It is well.
So all those things like that. Sure.
Okay, I totally vibe with you. So the fear of marriage is called gamophobia, and unfortunately a lot of people have that. Not just females, now even men. Men also have gamophobia, because marriage is a huge deal. It's a really big deal. You are committing to spending the rest of your life with this person, and people change. Every 10 years people change. You don't know what this person is going to be in the future.
It's not even every 10 years, it's every second. In fact, there are some things that
you really can't predict.
Yes.
Who your partner will become eventually, and you can't really say if they'll be for you or against you. So So,
sure.
you know, when you're committed to someone, you're putting all your life on the line. You're giving your all to them. And when you give your all to them, you're giving them the power to hurt you. And if you've been in a situation before where you love with all of your heart, your mind, your soul, and then you are heartbroken, whether you like it or not, there's this defense mechanism around your heart, such that at the sight of commitment, you run in the opposite direction. It's either you sabotage that relationship, or you find yourself just settling for things that are not official. You don't know you're doing it, but you realize that once you meet someone who is serious about you, who is serious about making you their wife, and you're making future plans, you develop cold feet, and the next thing you're doing is trying to find a way to pursue them and send them away, because you don't really want to give someone that power over you again. I know this all too well, because this was my reality, and I really understand what it's like to be a commitment phobe. Like, you don't want to hear it. Like, don't call me your girlfriend. I've said this before on this channel, and you know, it's something I really have been working on. And I realized that it didn't just start with my first relationship. It started with my house. African families, most of them are dysfunctional. We grew up seeing our dads mistreat our moms. We grew up in dysfunctional families, and most of us have made up our minds that there is no way my family or my marriage is going to be like this. Some people go the extreme and say they don't think they will ever get married if this is what marriage, if this is all there is to marriage. And then when you get older, you go online, you are seeing bad news everywhere, marriages crashing right and center. It's one thing or the other. But the truth is, there's still some marriages that are working out there, and the marriage is beautiful. It can be loving, it can be rich, it can be blissful and all that. But unfortunately, we don't get to see that. We are going to give some recommendations to you for how to overcome your fear of marriage. We'll be right back. I'm going to be telling you what has been working for me actually as an individual, because I realized that this is a major stronghold in my mind. I know that if I don't work on this right now, it's going to really affect me much later. Like, no matter how much I desire to be married, if I still have that fear about marriage in my mind, I cannot attract that which I desire. Do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay, so one of the ways that I realized has been helping me is to bombard my mind, my eyes, and my ears with the vision of what I want my marriage to be. So I seek out couples with amazing marriages, the likes of them Kingsley Okonkwo, Pastor Becky, and Paul and Enche, right? These are marriages that are doing so well, and they've stayed together for more than 10-12 years, right? I read books about marriage that tell you the actual purpose of marriage, what God intended it to be. And when I begin to realize what marriage is really all about, right, and I listen to people who are advanced in years talk about marriage, I realized that marriage is actually a beautiful thing. It is the people in marriage that are flawed and are terrible people.
Please don't forget about a lot of our viewers too are not people that follow those people. You know? Those ones are Christians. You understand, and there are some of us that are not full Christian.
What do you mean by full Christian? Well, I don't know about secular. I don't know.
We have a lot of people out there that their marriage are really doing well.
Who are they? Notable ones that I can mention.
You can have what's this guy named that ones? Okay, you have Obi Kubana and his wife. They are doing very well.
Obi Kubana and his wife.
Yeah. They've been married more than 10 years and they are doing okay.
The thing is, looking at the fact that some two persons have stayed together for so long doesn't mean their marriage is working. They may still be together, doesn't mean their marriage is working.
Their marriage is working.
How do you know that?
It's working, it's what we see.
How do you know?
It is what we see.
Because they travel everywhere together and all that. We're not just recommending random couples.
No, we are not.
Their marriages may be working, but you don't live with them in their house. Don't know what's working for them. If they have not documented what is working for them with their life experience or what they are doing, for their marriages to last that long, then you really cannot learn from them.
Really?
The purpose of this exercise is to prove to you that marriages still work, and it doesn't have to be abusive, it doesn't have to be oppressive, it doesn't have to subdue you or take your identity.
Once it becomes abusive, my friend, walk away.
If the reason for your fear of commitment is gamophobia, because you just are afraid of marriage, or philophobia, which is fear of love, my recommendation to you is to surround yourself with that which you want to see. For example, if your vision for your life is to have an amazing marriage, beautiful, blissful one, listen to people with amazing marriages who have been married for like 10, 20, 30 years. Listen to how they do it. Watch videos of beautiful couples. Thing is, whatever it is you're looking for, you will find. So if you're looking for bad news about marriages, that is what you will see. If you're looking for amazing couples, fulfilling marriages, that is what you would see. So you need to intentionally re-engineer your mind to seek out blissful marriages that you can really look up to, and have role models, mentors, those marriages you envy and admire, who you can submit to, that will teach you how to get out of this toxic mindset you have about marriage and help you to recalibrate your mind, begin to see marriage as exactly as God has ordained it. And lastly, my last recommendation is whatever fear or trauma you may have had as a result of your upbringing or past painful relationship experiences, you need to bring them all out on the table. If there are people you need to forgive them, let them go. If there's still pain you hold in your heart, hurt you have in your heart against a particular guy who broke your heart, you need to let that go. Those baggage you carry in your spirit that continuously weigh you down, you need to let those go and give it all away. Because when you do not forgive, you are holding yourself back and you're keeping yourself stagnant. You can never move forward in your love journey if you're still tied to your past. So one way I believe you can get over gamophobia is through letting go, right? Recalibrating your mind, and also intentionally and deliberately opening your eyes and your ears to information about marriage that is blissful, that is edifying, and that is transforming. Those would be my recommendations. Situationships is never the way.
And hello, please eat that frog. Get into that relationship. Yeah, get into it, and tell yourself on a daily basis, this relationship is going to be successful, and it's going to go the way I want it to go. And of course, God will help you.
How do you do that? Like, you're scared of marriage, you're scared of commitment, and a guy who is not willing to play games. He's coming to you to tell you that, listen, I like you and I really would like to make you my wife. Initially, when you hear that, you run away. Now, if you're trying to tackle the fear of commitment and some guy walks up to you with that, and he is in every sense of the word eligible and the perfect guy, no one is perfect, but quote unquote, at that point in time, what should be your response, like the alternative response to that, to the proposal?
That fear, you just have to confront it, because you have to be open with the other guy to know, let him know that, okay, fine, this is what I'm facing, so that he also, if he's the one, it will help you overcome that.
I think last prayer is the key though. Like, take everything to God in prayer.
Yeah.
The Bible says He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds.
And He said,
the reason you are
the spirit of fear, but that of
love, of power, and of sound mind. Yeah, that's the word of God. You need to pray earnestly and take your burdens to God and say, God, I am scared of marriage, but I really truly want to be married. I want to have a man that loves me so we can worship you and serve you together. I want to have amazing children, but I am so scared, God. I am so fearful of committing to a man that will damage my destiny. Lord, please show me the way that I must go and help me to overcome the baggages of my past. And as you do that on a consistent basis, I believe that God will give you the peace that you seek in your heart, and then the willingness. It will empower you to be able to commit to a person, finally and ultimately for the rest of your life. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much for coming again today on the show. We look forward to having you again next time. The lights just went off. We're going to wrap up right here. I am Simi Williams. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also like this video. If there's anything you'd like us to talk about, kindly drop that in the comment section below. And if you have fears about marriages, also you can feel free to share experiences. I'll be waiting to hear and read from you. You can follow me on Instagram at Simi Williams and follow her on Instagram at BeamZMo. Have a good day. God bless you. Bye for now. What were the things you were doing that were extra that you wouldn't do with a normal male friend?
Good.